Welcome to Crappens. Don't wait a week for a new video. Join our Patreon at the Crappens On Demand level for instant recap access. Link in description. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the one and only Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Hi, what you doing?
You know, just kicking off the week. Ready to talk some Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 2. What are you doing?
I was turning off my phone and my dad just sent me a text. Is your internet out? Granted, we don't even live close to each other, so I don't know what it would have to do with his internet being out.
Maybe it's a statewide issue.
So, is your internet out? So,
well, I hope
keep current to find out if my dad's internet is out, everybody.
Well, I hope everyone's internet, AOL, Earthlink, Hotbot, I hope it's all alive and well. So that way you can use your internet to get tickets to the Watch What Crappens Mounting Hysteria tour, which is resuming in March, which is very, very soon. March starts next week, and our tour resumes mid-March. On Pi Day, actually, 3/14. We are going to all sorts of fun cities. We're going to Cincinnati and Minneapolis and Toronto and Charlotte and Atlanta and DC and Philadelphia. It's all sorts of fun stuff. That's just in March. There's also a whole bunch more in April and in May, but we're only going to tell you about March right now because we don't want to overload you with information. But what you do need to know, the big TLDR about this, is that we have so much fun when we go out on the road. So please join us. Be with your people. Come alone. Come with friends. We don't care. We'll take you in any form. Go to watchwhatcrappens.com to get your tickets. Also, go to patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens to get access to our Patreon. You get access to all sorts of great stuff, like our weekly bonus episodes. We have been recapping The Traitors on that. We've already released our latest Traitors recap on last week's very dramatic episode. So go check that out. And of course, you can watch Crappens on Demand and see our smiling, waving faces on camera. You don't just have to listen to us. You can also watch us. So it's the full Crappens experience on Patreon. So go do it. And without any further ado, let's talk some Potomac reunion part 2.
About to do. Well, they're sure having a pretty entertaining reunion without Karen there. I almost feel bad for Karen.
I know, it's a really, really good reunion. It's like, and this episode was funny because it was full of the normal spiciness, but there's also like a lot of hilarity too. I mean, like they were all cracking up there on the stage. It's really good.
Yeah, it's been a good one. I was kind of hoping Karen would be in prison by this time so that she could watch it from jail, and because I just wanted the other people to be like, "Wow, Karen, it's really good without you," and then her just get mad and like shake somebody with a toothbrush that she'd made into a knife or something. But
just imagining Karen with a coffee mug going against the bars. Excuse me, security, security.
Mush again. Yeah, she's not in prison, but she is in some rehab center. And I was reading that because her sentencing now. It's like in a second. It either just happened or it's today. It's right now. Whenever my dad gets internet back, we'll probably find out what happened to Karen. But they were saying that the judge got pissed because her rehab is like a club. It's like massages and facials, and it's not real rehab. It's just like, celebrity vacation or whatever. And I was like, good for Karen, You go, girl.
Well, according to Fox 5 in DC, Karen Huger is facing sentencing Wednesday. So we will find out on Wednesday maybe what will happen to our sweet, sweet Karen Huger. But that's hilarious. Of course, Karen went to like a quote unquote wellness center like Promises Malibu, where she's playing badminton and mahjong all day long. Of course she is. I would expect nothing less for her.
I hereby decree this good mitten. I want this to be a positive experience for everybody.
Good man. I want to assure everyone that we have the designated driver for our shuttlecock. It's a shuttle after all, right?
Okay, so here we are with part 2, and Mia has just gone off because she's been called on something pretty light. I mean, I think it was pretty light, whatever she was called out on. But just watching everybody have to get up with these dresses on is so funny because they are like toothpaste being squeezed very slowly out of the tube. They cannot move. They're like, oh, God. Every time they get up, they're like, oh, Lord. So she's walked off, and that last episode ended with one of my favorite sound bites from this show of all time, which is Mia crying. And so all the ladies are looking around, and they're like, what's going on? Jesus.
Yeah. So Andy knocks on her dressing room door, and then he goes, well, now I know who has my normal dressing room, which was kind of his way of being like, who the fuck are you? It also is, does that mean that Andy did not go around before the reunion and do his standard, like, how you feeling today? You ready to talk to people? It means he just sort of showed up, clocked in, and was like, all right, let's do it.
Of course. He doesn't even look up from his phone until they're like, Andy, read the cue card. But why would they give Mia his dressing room? Why is she getting such star treatment? They're acting like what she did this season is a sin against humanity, which, I mean, it kind of is, you know, using your kids in that way and all that. You know, I think Mia's horrible for that. I mean, hilarious too, but also horrible. And I can see their point, but then why is she getting this star treatment? Bravo loves people who will throw their children on a train track for a storyline. They're like, you know what, Mia? Your son will never recover from this, probably. Here's Andy's dressing room. Congratulations.
Yeah. This is Bravo's version of an Oscar, Andy's dressing room. So Andy is so funny too. I'd love watching Andy convince housewives to come back on stage because it's just so like, it's just, I don't want to say it's insincere, but it's just so hilarious. It's like so perfectly manipulative. It's like it's so easy to see what he's doing, but they always fall for it. He's like, all right, Miela, now listen, here's the deal. You're beating yourself up right now, and why beat yourself up when there are other people out on stage who can beat you up for you, okay? So here's nothing worse than like a shame spiral. Well, maybe traumatizing your kid on national TV for an entire season. But anyway, I feel like you're in a shame spiral. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Come on, give yourself a little grace. She's like, thanks, Andy. Thanks, grace.
Yeah, and he doesn't. Have you ever seen those videos of Andy talking to his kids?
I don't watch children videos.
He's driving to the Hamptons or whatever, and his kids are just having a fit in the car. And he's like, why are we doing this? What do you think you're accomplishing right now? You're in a shame spiral. It's kind of the same way that he's talking to Mia right now. And poor Mia, it's like she thinks she's going to get away from it all by running away. But there's like knocks at the door, and there's just random guys coming in taking off their shirts. It's like, what's happening? Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't update Grindr. My dressing room's down. It's down now. It's Karen's old dressing room.
New location. Yeah. So back on the set, Ashley is saying, well, first of all, Kierna's like that. I'm glad that made the cut. That story needed to be told. Thanks, Kierna, the doyen of fascinating content over there.
The arbiter of truth over there.
The one who knows what makes for good TV. So then Ashley.
What does Greg think about it?
I know, right? So then Ashley's basically like, if you ever leave me somewhere like that. And she's like, I would never. I'm like, yeah, you would 100% do that to Ashley, but that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
I still remember season 1 Potomac. I still don't believe. Ashley has wormed her way into Giselle's heart after all these years, but I still think, given the opportunity, Giselle would ditch Ashley.
Yeah, I think so too. So now, and they're talking, of course, about the Miami storyline that Mia had this birthday party and then ditched the 2 girls that she did invite once they came all the way to Miami. So
Yes.
back to Mia. She's like, I've been a terrible friend and I know that. And he's like, oh, you're beating yourself up. You pooped your diaper. Okay. You felt bad. You owned it. But we're going to be at our big house in the Hamptons soon. So give yourself a break, Mia. And she's like, but like, if I wasn't in like the final weeks of my divorce, I wouldn't be in the shame spiral right now. It's just that I'm really actually divorcing. Completely believable. Oh my God, this is a good blowjob. Wow. Please, you're in the wrong room. Please.
And Ashley and Giselle are still talking about they would never abandon each other. And Hendy's like, well, the fact that you feel ashamed means that you're a good person, that you're the good person that we know you are. So give yourself some grace about this Miami thing. Just, take it off. It's done, okay?
Andy, I am a good person who's tormented by media.
Yeah, exactly. So come back out on stage.
Never feels guilt? Serial killers. So at least you're not a serial killer. Now let's go out there and talk about your new boobs, possibly. Okay.
So then everyone else is sort of gathering, reassembling back on the stage. Stacy sits down on the sofa. I guess she doesn't estimate how far the sofa is from her butt.
They can't move. They cannot move their body. They're just all standing there, and they're doing trust falls onto the couch.
It's like, bloop. So she, that was a long drop, but we made it. So what are the babies going to do while you're here all day? Is Eddie going to take them somewhere, Wendy? She's like, no, they're going to come here. Oh, that's right. And Kieran's saying how she dragged Greg up to New York for the reunion. And we cut to Greg's dressing room. We only hear his voice, and he's like, it's 4:52, and she said come at 1:30. I could have been bopping around Manhattan. Oh, I'm so sorry for those businesses that could have had the privilege of having your attention, Greg.
He's out there handing out his social work card to people. Andy and Mia come back, and they start again. He's like, welcome back! We're still talking about the dynamic duo of Potomac, GNA. Gizelle, how is life as an empty solar for you? Excuse me? Yeah. Empty nester. You said solar. Did you mean as in solar panels? Or no, I meant souls, but it was an accident. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Okay.
Well, life as an empty nester, well, you know what they say, life goes on, and so do we. Just how we do it is no mystery. So, it's like Gizelle in full throttle, It's like when I dropped off the twins, I finally got home, and I was legit sad for 28 hours, but then Joe Isuzu came over from next door, and then I had Dreyfus, so life as empty nester, not so bad,
One time they said, go see the park, so I went to the park, and they said, we met the nurse.
If it weren't for Park Overall and Sophia next door, I'm not sure how I'd get through this empty nest phase of my life.
And he asks about the twins adjusting to college life. And she's like, great, they had a first semester where they both got 4.0s on both sides. And they cut to Mia just being like,
Why didn't they get 10s?
That's what she was thinking.
Maybe if they weren't sneaking boys into their room in the Dominican Republic, they'd get 10s.
So then Andy's like, all right.
It's so stupid and so believable, too. Like, that was her train of thought. Like, that's good? Out of how many?
Andy, I'm a 10.
All right, you're in another shame spiral. So Andy's like, so how's your relationship with Jamal these days? And she's like, good. Why? It's like, because Schmooky from Schmookeyville says, do you know that why Jamal and his wife dressed up like characters in Wicked for their wedding? They did. And I was like, what? And it turns out I looked up the picture, and I guess they didn't get permission to post the photos of Jamal and his wife, which made me really upset. Made me mad at Jamal, actually. Like, let your photo be shown on this platform. But she was dressed in this big pink frilly Glinda dress, and he was in a green Alphaba blazer. So
I kind of hate that they did it before us at the Crappies.
I know, but we didn't know until right now.
Oh, and she's wearing like a pant. Wow, she made a choice. Let me just say, his new wife made quite a choice in this outfit. It is. Should I show it on here?
Sure.
Since we're on Crappins on
this
Demand.
Is a Crappins on Demand.
I'm
exclusive.
sorry for people on audio because we're basically stopping. We're stopping any kind of momentum we might be getting by showing you this, but it's important.
This is important.
I feel like it is. Okay, so here it is. Do you see it?
Yes.
So she's wearing a bell-bottom pants, pink. Wow.
It's the proportions.
This is a huge choice she's making. She looks great though, and I love her hair.
She definitely looks like she went to that same designer who did like the reunion dresses for like 3 years there. Like all of Nini's dresses. It was that one person who everyone would come on looking like a figure skater, but this is like a pantsuit version of it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the outfit. So there you go. I just look at her and I think, wow, I hope you're ready to get cheated on a lot.
I
Because
thought you were going to say, I hope you're happy now that
I
you've
hope
chosen
you're
this.
happy. I hope you're happy now. I hope you're happy how your husband's getting poo-tang from everybody in church. I hope you're happy that he's impregnated a teenager.
I hope you like free refills from Arizona. Always fun. So
We thought we were gonna have to wait for Wicked Part 2, but here it is.
no, we'll be busting out that song every month.
So they're kind of making him, they read some tweets from people who are like, work, Alphaba. Come on, Alphaba and Glinda. Jamal Bryant looks like he's saying, because I knew you, I've been changed for good in his wedding vows. Wow, Jamal's basically at the end of a Target commercial.
Andy, and then I didn't even clock this until I'm reading the notes right now. Andy goes, "So who was he? The goat?" that's actually really funny. And like saying Jamal was the goat and Wicked. That's one of the funniest things Andy Cohen has ever said. So Ashley is like, he was Alphaba. Wait, he was Alphaba. What? Is Jamal a big Wicked fan? No, he doesn't even know what Wicked is. Well, he does now.
Oh, so Giselle's like, I don't know what possessed him to do that. And Andy asked what the girls thought. They were horrified.
Well, maybe because they only got a 4 in school. Maybe they should spend more time studying than going to witch school.
So Giselle's like, well, he knows now, yeah. And they were embarrassed, and they went to the wedding. The girls went to the wedding, and Andy asked what the girls think about the new stepmom, as if anyone in the audience cares about this. And they basically don't. Giselle is very polite and shady, and she goes, well, they still don't know her. It would be great if there was a relationship, but there just hasn't been one with my kids. Hashtag she's a bitch.
They haven't been on the same shift at Arizona's yet.
All right. Well, you both found some great guys this season. What's happening with your guy, Namse? And Giselle says that they're stronger than ever. And then she's like, by the way, Nams and Josh have become very good friends. That's great. They hang out all the time. Oh, cool. So, so
You're
Beavis
sending
and
a
Butthead
spin-off show
here.
called Beavis and Namse.
Beavis and Namse, right. They're in a shame spiral, unfortunately, so development's been paused.
So is Josh, are Josh and Ashley still dating? It's like, yeah, we've just lessened it, cut back a little bit because we were just so hot and heavy. So now we're just going to chill. So we don't have labels.
Okay, but from Nums, he's headed over. Nums says that Josh is head over heels for Ashley.
And Andy's saying, well, Ashley also told me that he sent you off to New York. And Ashley's like, he did. And Giselle goes, with what? Sperm? With semen? And they're like,
A smile, bitch.
So how does he feel about Wendy's nickname, Jack Harlow, for Beavis? And she's like, actually, Josh was actually very offended by some of the things that Wendy has said about him. Oh, for Christ's sake. He's going to have to fucking toughen up in this group. That's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't start banging one of the Real Housewives of Potomac and expect it to go uncommented on. And so Wendy's like, he's offended by being called Jack Harlow. She's like, no, but the fact that you said dating him was like a lateral move from Michael, and because she said that in her at one point during the season, and she goes, he'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Ashley's really trying it here. So Wendy's like, who cares? And Ashley says, oh, you have no remorse. He's a very good guy. And his friends have been texting him like, oh, I can't believe she said that about you. And she goes, do you know how many things you've said about my husband? What have I said about your husband? Well, let's start with Ashley willfully brought a rumor that she knew was a lie about my husband on the television. Oh, please. That was you're right that was a low down, dirty storyline, but that was Gizelle and Robin who did that. And you're going to completely let them off the hook now. Come on.
You know, I was okay with Wendy pulling this card because Ashley was pulling a bullshit card with Josh being offended by Jack Harlow.
She was,
so
yeah.
I was like, you know what,
She
Wendy,
was.
just to pull whatever
But I
card
like
you
that
want.
Wendy
Just
will
do
just
it.
go back into the history books and then make this just because she's friends with Gizelle this season. She's like, oh, really? When you tried to make my best friend Gizelle look bad by bringing something up on camera?
You mean the blog that someone else wrote that I didn't write? You brought it up on national TV. Well, I thought Gizelle had done it, and she's like, "No, I didn't." And we see it was actually Ashley who had shown up, but I mean, it was just a matter of time. It's like semantics. Like it was gonna be Gizelle and Robin if it wasn't gonna be Ashley.
Well,
So-
Gizelle told her to tell her. She's like, you need to tell Wendy this. So she's like, okay. Because wasn't this when Ashley was pregnant? And she's like, well, I gotta get in my car because I'm pregnant. But before I go, Wendy, everybody says your husband's banging some girl on reality. Bye.
Yeah, it was something like that, or she just had the baby, or was about to have a baby, or something. So Gizelle was like, "Well, it was Ashley, but I took the blame for it because it was fine." Nah. And Wendy's like, "Well, I was mad at Ashley too. So don't sit here and woe is me. You talk about the father of my children, my husband, the owner and proprietor of Happy Eddie, which is available in all dispensaries nationwide. So sit there and sit with it."
The blogger didn't bring it up on a national platform. And he's like, okay, moving on. I'm bored with this. You're reaching. You're really reaching. Moving on. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Moving on. Josh is a great young man. Who says that?
And my husband is yeah, I know, right? And my husband is amazing, and I'm still married to him. So good luck with you and Josh.
Oh, well, that's beautiful for you. I haven't said shit about Eddie.
I was like, okay, good luck with you and Josh.
I haven't said shit about Eddie.
You brought rumors about mine. I haven't said shit about Eddie. So
Then they
And then
start.
Ashley's-
Wendy's like, well, you bought rumors about me, about my husband. Well, is Eddie still a lawyer? Is he still practicing? Yes, he is. Oh, I never said that. Yes, he is. Is he? You see what I'm saying? Miserable. So is the big rumor that Eddie's not practicing anymore? Who cares? He's dealing happy Eddie now.
yeah,
Guilty of making you happy. Happy Eddie.
you're miserable.
Absolutely not. I'm happy as a clam, and my clam was serviced.
Oh yeah, no, you're not. I clocked your ass.
You tried it.
Clocked it.
Tried it.
Clocked it.
Tried it.
Clocked it. All right. We're done. Okay. By the way, so this season, a former QVC host named Stacy and a med spa owner named, hold on, what's her name again? Are we sure she's on the show? She is.
Restylane gave this cast a makeover. Let's watch the clips. Can we fast forward Restylane's parts? Because it's...
So we see both of their clips and everything. All right. Okay. Well, Kay, what's the current status of you and Greg? Asks no one. And Kira's like,
Well, me and Greg are still together. Okay, that's great. Thanks for coming to the reunion. It's great to see you. No, I'm an actual Real Housewife. I'm not a friend of.
oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess talk some more about your relationship then.
Well, we're still together. And everyone's like, oh, how nice. Congratulations. That guy's trash. And she's like, yeah, we actually seen some rings last week. So, yeah, guys. Yeah, I've looked at rings. So, so he's taking you ring shopping? Well, he Googled rings and he showed me some. And then he started playing Never Gonna Get It, which is our song. That's our song.
Yeah.
So it's been super romantic.
Yeah.
Greg likes we went looking for rings, and I'm proud to say I'm the owner of a brand new doorbell. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. I do have a new ring.
But like in Vogue, we'll never break up. So that's good.
So Andy's,
Break
but they
down.
do. Andy's like, well, she says that they actually separated. He's like, oh, you did. Sorry, I'm just trying to muster some sort of energy for this segment.
Yeah, we did. And I actually went and got a condo, and then I'm in the process of purchasing that, and it's just been really lovely.
It's like, oh, cool. Like that's great. You got a condo. That's very on brand for the Real Housewives condos.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, premarital property, He's like, okay, so are you going to move back in with him? And she goes, maybe after the ring stops filming me day and night. I mean, Jesus, he put it on the inside of the door, Andy. So,
Yeah, he actually won't come over to my new condo because he doesn't like being filmed. So the ring camera is actually more of a problem than we thought it would be.
Well, at the end of the season, we got to understand a little bit more about why Greg doesn't say much on camera. He doesn't like being filmed. So.
Yeah. And she's like,
No, I'm sure that Greg is like not the first husband. Like it does feel invasive, and it was like a big transition from being like a friend to like a full-time housewife, and that like level of expectation. And then honestly, like last year when I got her down,
All right. So, did any of those guys find the correct dressing room? Is anybody waiting?
all right, we got it. He doesn't like being filmed. You know, mole people just gotta mole people sometimes.
yeah.
We actually have a comment from Cameraman that says, Kiarna, please let Greg know that he may not like the camera, but the camera likes him even less. Wow, that was harsh.
Wow. Well, you know, I know it hurts him when I say that, you know, because like, you know, he's like, I'm showing up, but like at the same time, he just feels like it's like negative, even though he was there showing up.
I'm like, well, in life, you can't just show up. Okay, you don't. I mean, yes, people say like so much of life is just showing up. Yeah, well, show up and also be like fun.
Yeah, I hate that saying. Like, most 90% of life is showing up. No, it's not. Anyone can show up. I mean, I don't like that, like the lowest standards for anybody. You know, she's like, you know, his thing was he's just uncomfortable all the time. And Andy's like, oh, please, Robin was a cast member on this show for 8 years, and she did nothing but look uncomfortable. It was fine for her.
Yeah, at least Juan Dixon. Juan Dixon hated it too, but at least he made a slight effort, you know?
No, I meant Robin, but yeah, actually Juan as
and
well.
I'm just saying Juan
double.
too. I'm yes-anding that. I'm bringing Juan into this. I am so glad that Juan Dixon isn't here to comment on Greg.
Yeah, but he can still be, you know, but to his credit, he showed up and he was uncomfortable on camera. So, you know, we thought Robin wasn't coming back this season, but in a way, she's here. So now, Stacy, people seem to think that your former significant other, TJ, had the opposite feeling about the cameras. He loved the cameras. He actually loved them. Actually, he called us and asked if we wanted to film his boob job.
So Wendy's like, I'm sorry, you said former? They're not together anymore? We are not anymore. No. Oh, I didn't know that. And Kieran's like, were they ever together? Well, as I've said consistently, TJ is one of the best people I know. However, it was just a lot of pressure. And there was also moments that I saw watching the show that were shocking. And on top of that, he did get an extra job on The Pit. So, you know, he's been busy.
You know, I just couldn't date someone when all he would do was walk around going, stat! Stat! I mean, it was very stressful, you guys.
He would say, listen, Stacy, we're putting on a stopwatch, and the next 60 minutes of our lives is going to be like 60 minutes in the pit. All right? It's a real-time show, and I'm going to be on it. It was just a lot to deal with.
I woke up one night and thought, wow, TJ's finally on top of me. But he had a scalpel, and we was going to put in a stint. He's very method, Andy. It got scary.
Have you watched The Pit? People are like really into The Pit. I almost want to watch it.
I'm not watching that. I mean, I liked ER when ER was on, but it was at one point with ER, because ER was on like 97 seasons or something. And at one point I had to stop because I was like, why am I putting myself through this? It's nothing but pain. I can't. And they're like, oh, wow, The Pit, ER's back as The Pit. And now it's with your least favorite person from ER, but older. And I was like, no, gross. Why'd I watch that?
How dare you insult my former employer? How dare you?
Noah Wiley?
Yes.
You worked for him?
I worked at his company, yes.
Oh, did I know that?
I don't know. That's where TVgasm started. I had nothing to do in the afternoons. And so Joe Foz and I, you know, Joe wanted to start a TV blog, and so I'll be writing my recaps there in the office.
Wow. I didn't know that for some reason.
Yeah, so that kind of makes this podcast pit adjacent. So be careful where your bread is buttered.
But
I do hear The Pit's good.
Yeah, I hear it's good. Everybody's loving The Pit.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I don't know. That's depressing, especially as you get older and the hospital is more of a possibility every day. No.
What's depressing about a show called The Pit? I don't understand.
It's got such a positive name. I had to go to the emergency room last year. Well, I didn't have to. My parents made me because I had really high blood pressure. It was like a 200 something. It was like 240 over. I mean, it was really, really high. And I only found out because I went to the Botox place and I was getting weight loss medication. So they gave me they gave me not a blood pressure test, and they were like, no, Ronnie, you really need to go to the hospital. And I put it off, but I made the mistake of telling my dad this, and I told him at 10 o'clock at night. Well, who shows up at my door? My parents. Like, get in the car, we're going to the fucking emergency room. So they drove me. No, they shouldn't have in their state. They should have sent an Uber or something. So they you can tell that they'd been playing cards or something. I mean, there is something. I'm not accusing them of drunk driving. I'm just saying there's been more sober driving, and they sped me down there like Cruella de Vil is how they were driving, and they got me to it was one of those private emergency rooms or whatever, and it was by this time it was like 11:30 at night, and the only people on staff there were the new people who didn't have any experience. And that my mom was a terror in there. She was like, where's everybody? Where's the fucking service? There's no one even in here. And so they take me back there, and the guy's like, oh, we need to give you an IV of fluids or something. And so he kept missing the vein. Granted, I don't work out, so I don't have veins. So he's just like poking around, and then blood started spurting out of he missed the vein, I guess. And my mom started yelling at him, and he looked like he was about to cry. I never want to go back to an emergency room again is the point. So no Pit. I will not watch you. And if any of you want to see really depressing drama, call my mom in the middle of late night canasta to take you to the emergency room and see how traumatized you are. I don't want to hear it about the Pit.
What about a 24-hour real-time medical show that takes place in a med spa instead, where like that's where you found out about the high blood pressure? What about like it's called The Butte, and it all takes place at Beauty Lab and Laser, and it's like here's episode 1. It's like, did you do Wordle today? Not yet.
I'm into it. That I would watch. Okay, so anyway, we see clips of TJ being kind of an asshole to Stacy, which he was doing right to her face, but somehow it only really bothered her when she saw it on TV. It's like, when I saw it at a different angle, he just didn't look as handsome when he was yelling at me. So I was very offended when I watched it back. And to hear from Arabella and my family, it was hurtful, Andy. It was hurtful.
I still laugh every time she says Arabella. She didn't even say it. We're saying it, but just Arabella. It's just so great every time. It was hurtful. And it was hurtful for some people to say he was more interested in the trainer than me. I said that. I know you did. I know. And we see Wendy saying it at Bravo Fan Fest. I just love how they are all paid. They pay attention to every single word that everyone says at any little event. So,
because people are, how fans are, and they're like texting them videos like, did you hear what this bitch said about you? It gets, even if they don't watch the whole thing, I'm sure they get the bits that are the most offensive,
And that was hurtful, Wendy, because you're my friend. And TJ talks to Eddie. And they text. That they're great, great friends. She's like, not really. But anyway, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. And as your friend, I will receive that absolutely 1,000%. I'm not apologizing for what I said, but I will receive what you said. And
think of me as a mailbox.
Change my behavior.
Think of me as a friendly mailbox. Okay? I received it.
I received it, much as I'm sure TJ hopes to receive more sessions from that trainer.
Well, could you put the little red metal flag up so I could get a response? No, there's nothing in the mailbox.
You already have TJ. You have enough red flags.
So, when did you break up with TJ? She's like, right around the holiday season, Auntie. Merry Christmas to me. Right, everybody, right? And everybody's kind of rolling their eyes.
It was a very sad Yuletide moment. We were going to be celebrating with non-alcoholic eggnog when all of a sudden TJ got a call that he needed to sub in for a last-minute Big Lots commercial to celebrate the holidays. And honestly, I'm not sure I can ever celebrate Christmas in the same way. It was devastating for me.
So Andy's like, wow, you broke up with him quick, or you got a divorce too, right? Wow, that's crazy, Ashley. That was quick, right? She already got a divorce. Look at you, loser. All right, everybody, point at Ashley and laugh.
All right, then now point at me and laugh. Great. So Gizelle
Point
goes,
at this boy in a ball gag and laugh. What are you doing on stage? Go back to Karen's dressing room.
how is your daughter handling it? And Karen goes, yeah, Arabella. I'm sorry, Karen, excuse me. Stacy, you have the floor. Arabella. Thank you. Well, she's well. We're doing 1 week on, 1 week off, and I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I'm bored. When Arabella's not around, I'm like, who do I talk to? Who do I boss around? I mean, a fern can only take so much punishment.
She is still best friends with TJ, she tells us. And Wendy's like, but wait, so nothing's changed because you were best friends with him before and you're best friends with him now, right? So whatever. This is stupid, you know? So you all weren't having sex then? You're not having sex now, whatever. I'm your friend. I don't want you to forget that.
Yeah. And Stacey's like, yeah, thanks for wrapping it up, Wendy. Thanks. All right, can I ask a very personal question? She's like, yes. All right. Did you do everything but have sex? Well, no, I didn't know it was going to be that question. I'm like, it's Andy Cohen, and he says he's asking a personal question. Like, you have to get your vagina ready.
Well, when I say, we were intimate, but what? Butt sex? No. Fingers? Digits in the butt? No. Blowies? No. Suckies? No. Lickies? No.
I think that Andy is actually filling out his menu for the dressing room action in the break.
So they're questioning her, like cunnilingus, anything down below the belt. And Stacy goes, let's just say I wish him well. I wish him well, Bella.
Well, Bella. All right. Well, moving on. Dinah from Manoff says, Stacy, were you just with TJ for a storyline and also to boost his acting career? Because that's what it looks like to me, a real Kenya Walter situation. And we get a wonderful brief clip of Kenya and Walter back in season 5 of Atlanta. And Andy's like, yeah, but Walter wasn't as thirsty as TJ. She goes, are these fans of the show? Who are these people?
Did my mother get a comment through? They are fans. Well, I don't know what to say about that. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I found out on the holidays, you guys. Okay, well, it came to admiring and reading each other's fashions this season. The women of Potomac had each other's number, especially when that number is 613. Let's have a look.
So it's a clip talking about, we just see everyone's crazy outfits, etc. Specifically, the Kiana's shoulder pads, Wendy's Michelin Man outfit, Stacy's wig, things like that. Giselle's, foofy dress. So we come back and Andy's like, there's a big difference between Whitney and Annie. And Ashley says,
Okay, but I wasn't included, but the dress that Stacy wore at the finale, I wore that dress 3 months before.
Which actually leads to a lot of drama, which I wasn't prepared for. I was not prepared for all of this that happened. So we see a flashback to Strut for Strays where Ashley and Gizelle are talking, and Ashley's like, oh my God, I wore that outfit that she's wearing. And she shows her a picture and they crack up. And she says, no shade. I mean, you look good in it. You look good. And Stacey goes, I know. Thank you. Thank you. The Fern said the same thing.
Well, so the dress was one that Vivian made.
Yeah, she's made it for me.
And Andy's like, and made it for you a few months earlier. And was she being shady on purpose by dressing you in that? And Stacey goes, it's a really difficult situation for me because I've known Vivian for years. And we see them flashback to poor Vivian being dragged into this. And Stacey's like, and I just think it was quite obvious that she was being shady on purpose.
So, this is from Vivian, everybody. She says, this is on Instagram. She says, thanks, Gizelle Bryant, for asking who elevated who. The delusion of it all. Stacy is quickly unraveling her fraudulent self before our eyes. Stacy begged me to exclusively sponsor her event to elevate it. Her words. And by the way, I introduced Stacy to the Real Housewives of Potomac group, and this is how she thanks me. SMH. Lying Stacy begged me for that outfit. I originally custom made that outfit for Ashley for a casual collaborative event. I offered Stacy another gown appropriate for her event. It was made out of dogs, and she insisted Ashley's outfit. So I even showed her a pic of Ashley in it, and my staff was present at the time of the conversation. Hey Stacy, you returned all the gowns smelling funky. SMH. Everyone will soon get your true color. Hashtag fake, hashtag phony, hashtag fraud, hashtag the lies. P.S. Bravo, Andy. I love how you call me Viv.
See, have me on next time. Well, good for Vivian for standing up for herself. This whole thing, I think this whole thing made Stacy look bad in the best possible way. It's like, aha, Stacy, we've known there's more than the good girl act that she's been talking about, and we definitely got a peek into it with this diva meltdown over the dress. So
Loved it.
Andy's like, so you're really not friends over that? And Wendy's like, yeah, she told me to fuck that bitch.
When you talk like that, Stacy?
Stacey goes, I would never say that. Oh, yes, you did. I said, so how are you and Vivian? And you took a sip of your drink and you said, fuck that bitch. That's what she said. She goes, well, it's very difficult for me because I chose to elevate her and have her be the exclusive fashion designer for Strut for Strays. I mean, do you know how many designers, Christian Siriano, Louis Vuitton, were just left out in the cold, Annie? Left out in the cold, all for Vivian.
So you elevated Vivian. Absolutely. Did you not hear that list of designers? And then Kieran's like,
But did Vivian need elevation, though?
look, it's not like Vivian is like a major force in Vogue or something like that. But like,
She's a major force in Potomac.
she's been on the cover of Mid-Atlantic Vogue, so I take it all back.
She may not be on W, but she's on the cover of the DMV.
she's just on the cover. She's on the cover of You, not W. So Stacy is like, she's like, by allowing her to do the things for the event, I was mortified that she would put me in an outfit that one of my colleagues had already worn.
So that's why you said, fuck you, bitch. Absolutely. So Andy says, you think she did it deliberately? And when he goes, fuck that bitch, that's what she said, Andy.
Absolutely. She's dead to me and it's over. And I feel like they're like at this point all laughing. And I couldn't tell if Stacy was even being serious because even Stacy seems like she's laughing. And Kieran is like,
Detroit 313, that's the Stacy I shared a room with. That's the real Stacy.
Which is true. By the way, I feel like one thing we have not really clocked Stacy for is that every now and then she does get a Michigan accent that comes through, which I think is so great because she tries to have a newscaster accent, but every now and then she's like, paging Mary Cleary, and I think it's great. I love that little twinge of Michigan coming through.
So they're all cracking up at her that she's finally being bitchy on the show. And Andy's like, well, you are a real housewife. So have you had your face done yet? Please get it done. I just need to ask about it. You look great, but I would love to ask about it next time. Okay, great. So were the ladies too hard on you about your hair? And in the finale, they made that wig. And she says that she was expecting a warmer reception because they have borderline hazed me all season. It was so rough. And they're like, oh, come on now. Have you not dished it? So then we see flashbacks to Stacy saying, Ashley is a beautiful woman from top to ankle.
And then Ashley says,
By the way, so you can sit up there and be like, oh, you guys have been hazing me, but bitch, you've been dishing it too.
and then he goes, okay, well,
I
Poopy from Diaper said, Ashley, when are you going to prioritize the health of your feet and address those Funyuns? And she's like, oh my God, everyone's so worried about my bunions. I mean, Karen's the one who's really worried, so I'm going to put her picture right by my bunions.
They're genetic bunions.
Framed Karen down there.
These are bunions I've had since I was 10. These are like childhood bunions. They went to school.
So then Andy's like, all right. Can I get my own personal thing off my chest? That blue Michelin tire man suit. Oh, God. I have never in 18 years texted a housewife about an outfit. And we see that he texted Wendy to say, we need to discuss this dress, professor.
So Wendy wrote back, "Oh my God, I was so torn on this look. I was given Michelin Man teas. Hot, hot, hot." She's like, "When you texted me, I texted you back. I owned it. I knew I was looking like a tire."
And Kiara, you got a lot of attention for your cartoon supervillain shoulders.
She's like, yeah, they ate me up.
All right. Well, they're kind of giving Uncle Fester a little bit. Okay. Well, Pencil from Sharpener says, Ashley, you look amazing, but the real question is, do you want a full shirt? It's either titties out or belly out. What's the deal, huh? And then she's like,
Yeah, well, they continue to be.
I was like, okay, good. Well, you make a hot guy, by the way. Hot guy. And we see her dancing in drag.
It's amazing to see how off rhythm you are as a man as well as a woman. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive that the gender swap didn't help at all. It's like, yeah, and it was wild. And she says her grandma was so proud of her. And even Karen was like, oh, you're making me reconsider some things. Not vodka, but what were we talking about?
Most importantly, what did Uncle Lump think? What did Uncle Lump? Uncle Lump. All right. Well, Area from Rug asks, Wendy, I saw an Instagram post where you alluded to Ashley copying your confessional look with the pearls and red hair. Ashley, did you rip off Wendy on purpose?
And then we see the side by side of these outfits. I don't think they're the same outfit. They both had
similar.
pearls on them. I mean,
They're similar.
And I'm glad he pointed out that they're all wearing the same thing tonight too. Like they're wearing the same pearl thing tonight too. So I don't know. I didn't think this was one of them. But when he's like, "Oh yeah, they peek through my window at night, Andy. They peek through my window." Okay, well, Heavenly is a huge homo from Phobe says, Mia, when you were married to Gordon, you were always wearing blazers, and then you got with Ink, and you started wearing Fashion Nova and stirring up messy storylines.
Did Ink bring out a different side of you? And Mia's like,
Oh, so the way I dress has absolutely nothing to do with the man. I was actually working a corporate job, okay? And, then I sold my job to work with Fashion Nova.
and he's like, so
You sold
Fashion
your
Nova's
job?
paid?
No, you did not sell your job, ma'am. You were doing
can't sell a
pamphlets in
job.
a crack the back, and your job was taken from you because you guys were allegedly taking money from the business and using it for shit that you shouldn't have been using it for. Allegedly. I didn't say any of this. I read it all on the internet.
It was a corporate job. I used my BMA that I got from Harvard School of Business of Schools. And I don't know what everyone's talking about. It was a very high-powered, important working girl job. One day I was doing dim sum. Next day I was banging Harrison Ford and making $1 million deals. I don't want to hear anything more about it.
So, Gizelle, you were so messy to buy the dress that Stacy forbid everybody from wearing at her event. What message were you trying to send her? Well, that I would spend a lot of money for tacky things. But we've already seen your house. Well, still, it felt good.
Yeah. I was afraid people were saying I looked really good in this reunion, so I wanted to make sure that they knew that I still was capable of dressing very, very badly. Yeah.
I wanted them to stop making fun of the taste in my living room and start making fun of the taste on my body. So,
So she basically, she just was like, she bought it to be petty. And then Wendy says that Gizelle actually returned it right away. She was like, you can have it. Like she just did it to get under his skin. Well, I mean, why not wear it for a good cause? She goes, I did. I went to the event. But did you donate to my charity? I did. I was sitting there and I donated. I was sitting there as shit was shitting and I donated.
the shit was shitting. So we see the flashback to the dog poop fiasco at Strut for Strays, which I'm sure will have its own 30-minute segment at some point. But for now, okay, well, you all went blonde this season, and who wears blonde best? Who is the true queen of the 613?
Well, I think we all know who wears blonde the best. It's Cameron. Oh, I was talking about you, Gizelle. She's like, oh, thank you. That's nice. I meant I think that
Please
Karen Rock.
don't
I don't know what to
compliment
do with
me.
that.
I hate your guts and hope you die.
Please stop disarming me.
So then they make fun of Mia's hair as if it was the worst. I don't
Wait, no,
mind Mia's
wait,
hair. What's
wait.
wrong with me?
Mia said something that was so funny because Giselle goes, well, thank you. It's very nice. But I think that Karen rocks the blonde hair. And Mia goes, when it's on all the way.
So Mia says no more 613 for now. And Stacy goes, but you took a risk. And I applaud you for that. She took a risk. And I'm the only person applauding. But
Like we're not gonna reward Mia for taking a risk. So Giselle says, Andy, so we had a whole discussion about her hair, and all of us did together, and we were just saying to help you because we've never seen your ears or your neck, Stacy. Stacey goes, well, why do you want to see my ears or my neck? Just to make sure you're a human and not an alien.
I had never thought about never seeing Stacy's ears until she said it. And then my mind started going through all of the shots of the season. I was like, I guess we have never seen her ears. And she's like, well, I made a video of you. It's quite hilarious, Andy. Arabella loved it. Where I'm sitting in a makeup chair and I showed Gizelle my ears. Can we roll that? Roll that, please. I hate you, you stupid bitch. I'm never giving you a dress again. No, that's the one of Vivian. Can we just do the one of me in the makeup chair? So they cut to that, and she kind of lifts her hair up a little bit. She's like, look, I have ears. We did not see full ears in that. What's going on with your ears? Why aren't you showing your Spock ears? Show them.
Let me tell you something. Those were Snork ears. Okay, she's from a different planet. It's confirmed. She's an alien. It all makes sense now. The way she acts, Stacy does act like an alien that has studied us and has come down to Earth and has inhabited our forms and is doing a very close simulation of human, but not quite nailing it.
Her eyes turn black. She's got Justin Bieber and the Pope in her Rolodex. Lizard person.
And she lives under the Denver airport. So
with Deb, the elevator lady.
Yeah, Deb. Oh, so then yeah, Deb, she was the best. So Stacy's like, and I sent you that video, and what did you say back? I said, I don't know what I said. Nothing. You said nothing. I showed you my ears, and you said nothing.
So then Andy tells Ashley, well, I do love your hair. She goes, thank you. Gizelle says, he didn't say that to me. He doesn't like mine. He's like, no, sorry, Gizelle. I was talking to Ashley on that one. All right, welcome back to the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9 reunion. We're joined by Jacqueline. Wow, Jacqueline's looking a little different than when we saw her. What's different, Jacqueline? Whose baby are you impregnated with now? She's like, I'm expecting boobs. Are you expecting new boobs?
You know what? Congratulations. With all due, when are you due? Well, I'm very excited, and I'm due in May. Wow. But and then Ashley's like, but did you notice? By the way, Jacqueline, did you notice where we are? And she's like, yeah, we're in Panama. She's like, that's where we had our beautiful memory together. We should have a whole 30-minute segment about this. And we see a flashback of them kissing briefly. And thankfully and shockingly, we did not dwell on their kiss for 30 minutes and 5 segments of this reunion. It was like a one and done moment, and they just moved right on.
Yeah, I'm proud of production for recognizing their low points of the season and just trying to brush them under the rug, you know? So then Jacqueline's like, well, I can tell you this. The father has never been on Bravo or graced our screen. So let's put it out there now. It's another father, everybody. And he's like, oh, well, that's good. We have someone fresh with a life to ruin, basically. And Wendy's like, so it's not pee-pee? It's not ink? Who is it? It's not ink.
No, his name is Dakota, and he lives in Salt Lake City. Dakota from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Yes, he has impregnated me. So Ashley's like, was he at the premiere party? More to come. Stay tuned. I guess if I get that champagne flute, you'll find out all about him. But until then, I'm going to use this leverage to... Oh, no, I'm still going to be a friend of. Okay, got it.
More to come. That's the last thing you need right now, okay? Okay, well, Mia, you've always led a complex life, but you gave the phrase love triangle a whole new shape. Let's take a look. So we see Mia's package of lies and lies this season.
Me and Ink are high school sweethearts. And Ink wants a paternity test for Jeremiah. And also, Gordon has mania. You know, I really love parks. Mania! Mania.
So she starts to cry, of course. It's not even that sentimental of a montage. And it's like hard to rewatch just because it's so blatantly manufactured for the cameras. Anyway, well, Ink is not here today. He unfortunately got confused with the airlines and a roller coaster sign and he thought he was not allowed on. But that's okay. We'll try to get him back next year. You recently announced that you've broken up. What happened?
Well, you know, it's very difficult when you're in a public relationship because people see it and then you think you could have done something different, but I was married for 11 years. Ah! Ha ha ha. And I'm a good mother and my kids are amazing. Every day I work, even without crack the back, I walk around organizing brochures for people for free.
All right, well, but your tagline is "Ink is permanent," which is so funny. And it's like, how could you break up?
Yeah, well, you know, Ink is my best friend, and, you know, he is forever going to be part of my life. But, like, do we need to be in an intimate relationship? No. I mean, I can only have sex on a step stool so many times.
So Andy's like, well, camera from Lens says I want to know the other lady's impression of Ink because besides his height. So what were your impressions on the two of them as a couple? And
He's
Wendy's
short,
like,
Andy. Very, very short.
I don't want to be long-winded, so I'll keep this short.
So Wendy tries it. She's like, he's a very kind, respectable gentleman. But we can be honest, okay? You came on this show and you brought an outsider and they don't know the backlash, right? So they got backlash, everyone calling him short, apple box, tiny, etc. And, you know, the game that everybody was playing online where they said, let's toss Ink back and forth. You know, that sort of thing. So it's really hard because no one understands what this life is like until you're in it, Andy. You know, and then once it was shown to the world, he didn't like that. And so Ashley's like, yeah, but he went a little bit hard with Gordon. It's not like he's just some victim.
Well, Ink very much wanted to be on television. Like he wanted more camera time. I do not believe they broke up. I think they are still together, and I think it's very clear that Mia is aware of being trashed on social media as it relates to throwing Ink in front of Gordon and the whole triangle and the disaster and the disgustingness of it all. So yeah, they're still together. Ink lives in Atlanta. Mia knows we're about to film again, so Mia lives in Atlanta. She doesn't even live in D.C., Maryland, or Virginia.
Yes, so basically they're still together. But Mia's just pretending they're not so people will be nicer on Twitter. So Mia's like, why would you say that? And Sissy goes, oh, she doesn't live here?
I've never heard of such a thing. Why, I haven't moved at all. Every interview you fly in for your interviews,
No, I've been here. That's a lie.
Well, I've heard people that are on the same plane as you. You're in the back.
I do fly back and forth, yes.
No, I didn't say you fly back. I said you're in the back of the plane.
I love that.
No, I live here. I have a condo here.
Fine. But if that's the lie you want to tell today,
It's not a lie, it's facts. I have a condo on 123 Condo Street, so meet me there for coffee.
Okay, well, where do your kids go to school? They're in private homeschool, Andy.
as opposed to public homeschool.
I didn't even think of that.
You
I was like,
had to
wow,
fill
do they
out-
have to wear uniforms?
They had to fill out an application. It was a very competitive process. They had to beat out Tom Cruise's child to get into private homeschool.
So private homeschool they could do from anywhere in the world, correct? She goes, and Giselle goes, like Atlanta? And she's like,
Well, they have gone to Atlanta, but they don't go back and forth every time.
oh, okay. So now every time insinuating that you are constantly coming back and forth from Atlanta. Like, girl, can you hear yourself? She can't stop lying.
Okay, so as of October, your thing was what do we think of ink? And I gave my opinion about what I think of ink. And now I'll be honest with you, I feel as though you had this plan for you and ink that you orchestrated for the season and it backfired on you. And I think you saw that, and it wasn't good for the brand and people weren't loving it. And so you said, let me drop ink and let me start posting pictures of Gordon again.
Yeah. And she's like,
Well, hold on. Let me say in my defense.
Wait, guys, she's in a shame spiral. Give herself some grace. All right, she is getting divorced, though. That's a lie. Gordon and Ink, they're all in on it. There's no divorce.
and she says, but
Why? Why would I do this? What would be the reason?
and Andy says, yeah, well, for what benefit? And Wendy goes, for this benefit, right here, the show. And if you took that out, what would be left? And Mia goes,
A lot. I'm Mia. Okay. I just want to be
Brochures?
me.
There's a lot that I deal with, There's Gordon's mania,
And they're like, wait a second. We looked up the medical records. Gordon has Beatlemania. That's totally different.
well, he loves the Beatles. What can I say? And that still is a type of mania.
well, Heavenly is worse from than we ever even knew. Said, did you tell your kids about the divorce for the first time on camera? Yes or no? She goes,
So yeah, we had well, what I wanted to do was go to therapy, but I just didn't get around to it.
oh, okay. So you forgot to book a therapy appointment, so you told your kids on camera.
Yeah. And who was leading the charge on the paternity test? Was it you or was it Ink?
It was Ink. He wanted to know.
And okay, so then what does Jeremiah know about the conversations?
Well, the kids are not allowed on social media. It's the first rule of private homeschool. No phones whatsoever.
As a good parent, Andy, I keep my kids off of social media, so they don't know that I'm ruining their lives until later.
Oh, well, you don't think he's going to find out? Like, it's ridiculous if you think he's not going to find out. And Mia's like,
Well, 1,000%, but right now he's 9. I mean, he doesn't even know English.
The education system in our private homeschools is terrible these days in America.
So Mia's like,
And, eventually I'm going to have to share with him because when he becomes a teenager in 15 years, it's going to be very scary.
okay, well, you're going to have to explain that without it was a topic on the show.
1,000%.
1,000%.
anybody who 1,000% you is lying, apparently, because she says 1,000% over and over.
She says
Well,
it
I mean,
so many
just
times.
like everything else we discuss is controversial, okay? And I don't think this is something that I should have discussed in hindsight because I do feel like I have to prepare him for that. I'm a good mother.
All right, well, Cloudy with a chance of from Meatballs says, Mia, you talked about Karen needing to be real all season, but your stories about Gordon, Ink, and the paternity were hard to follow. Don't you think it's hypocritical when you're not being transparent yourself?
I am being transparent. It's just a very wavering day by day, 1,000% decisions.
Am I being transparent? Yes. Am I Jeffrey Tambor's biggest fan? Yes. But the situation here is very complex.
So Kieran's like,
Yeah, but me and these stories don't add up because sometimes it sounds like you're crazy to all of us, and then we were believing you, and then we had to go on and see Gordon, and then we were believing you, and then you said this baby, and then we don't were believing you, and it's just like you're exploding over there. But you said you already knew this was the father of me. Okay, well I'm not. Can someone translate for that for me?
yeah, here's a question.
What was that?
Didn't
was
you-
that Jeremiah talking? I barely understood that.
Wendy's like, didn't you conceive the child through IVF though? And she's like,
Yes, I did conceive him through IVF, which, as we all know, stands for intervaginal ferocity.
It stands for the internet version of Vanity Fair, which I was reading.
Internet Vanity Fairs, where I conceived him. I got very horny reading a profile on Daniel Craig.
So last year, she said that she conceived through not IUDs, because that's we got into this last year. Do you remember we got into this last year?
Don't take my storyline.
Oh,
IURs or IUIs or something, which
UNESCO.
is where
It was from a UNESCO, UNICEF. Thank you. Yeah.
last year she said IUI or IU whatever it is. And that is a different thing than IVF. That's where you put this. They basically someone described it online as turkey bastering sperm into you.
It's called an IPO. It's called an initial pubic offering. You offer up the sperm into the vagina, and then the vagina has a baby. So, when is
It's the IRS, Andy. Wait, taxes impregnated you? No, it's intentional reality spermatozoa. All right, Mia. No one's buying this. And she goes, but I did conceive through IVF, but I could have been pregnant when I got the IVF. So that's what happened.
And Wendy goes, no, that's not true. Want to know why it's not true? Because when you get IVF, you have to take a pregnancy test. And she goes,
well, in order for a positive pregnancy test, you have to be 4.5 weeks pregnant.
and they're like, no, they take a blood test and they can test your HCG immediately.
And she's like, exactly. Your Herman cock groin, which is the procedure that I have.
As we all know, HCG stands for historically clogged
Unfilled.
garden.
Glugger.
Glugger. My HGTV levels were normal, so they were able to do an IUD on my IVF. It was okay.
Mia, don't you just want to end this paternity stuff for your children? Do it. If Arabella wanted to, I would do it.
And she's like, 1,000%. And I have. So we've done a professional private school test. Jeremiah is Gordon's child through IVF, 1,000%.
The results are in. And Jeremiah is half IMF. So congratulations. So
you can hear about it on CBS. Come burgling sycophants. I was like, okay, great. Daddy is probably been cheating this whole time, says, Mia, you proclaim that you want to protect your children's innocence. How can you say that you want to protect them when you let adult conversations occur within their presence?
Oh, for Christ's sake. I don't know that that's a good question. I mean, what kind of adult conversations has Andy's kids heard?
All right, well, just give me some grace. That has never happened until that day. That was the first adult conversation, but we felt like after years of private homeschool that they were ready to interface with adults, and they were getting along for an entire year, and the two of them were like getting along, so I didn't think it was going to happen. Yes, but Gordon told you he didn't want to film with Ink, and he didn't know Ink was there when that scene happened, and then when he gets there, he even says, I don't want to film with this dude.
Well, that was when he was in Mania, so...
And we see a flashback of Gordon telling Ink, I told Mia I'm not filming with you when you and I are here together with the kids. I'm going to be very cordial, so have a good time. Without the kids, I'm not interested. So then Giselle's like, he told you when the cameras are on, he doesn't want to do that, but you thought it was good for the show. You thought it was good for your little story.
No, I think what I thought would be good is showing positive co-parenting, showing that you can have a positive family, home, private school experience with a parent who has mania, because that's what we've been doing for an entire year. When I got divorced the first time, my ex-husband and Gordon are really, really good friends.
Mia, you were fucking Ink before you even broke up with Gordon with your kids in the house. Come on, we've already gone over this. She's so frustrating, and she can talk herself in circles. And I like that they're not really letting her and her whole thing.
I was just trying to show what positive co-parenting is.
Yeah, we were consciously uncoupled like Gwyneth and Chris. So I just wanted to show everyone how it's done, I thought, okay, why can't we do this again? All right, Jacqueline, you've been awfully quiet over there. What's your reaction to this conversation happening on the show? It looks familiar.
okay, what does that mean? In terms of Gordon, one moment being in one positive space, and then next moment he's in a negative space. And I've seen Gordon and Ink get along, and then there are other moments I'd see them like not get along. So I feel like in this instance, it was just like a bad situation that was caught. It was unfortunate, but the kids were there. But I've told Mia in the past, I don't think she should make Ink and Gordon. And okay, this is not as exciting as a response I was hoping for you, so let's just move on from Jacqueline. So your personal life seems to frustrate or annoy a lot of people, both your friends on the show and also the viewers. Why do you think that is? Do you think you're just like an annoying and frustrating person? Do you take it personally? Do you feel like you're a failure, Mia?
It's the lies, Andy, the lies. Well, I think whatever I'm going through, I'm open about it. And, it's my honesty, Andy. I mean, it is confusing. I'm confused sometimes.
And so Kierna, who's talked more in this reunion than we've heard her talk in 2 years, is like, well, it was just toxic. And I can see why Gordon was having several episodes. Like she's mania shaming somebody. She's like, you're the cause of the mania. So... because Gordon's elder. She goes, because Gordon is elderly, okay? And it's I mean, it was basically giving elderly abuse that you kept doing this to Gordon.
But he is the one that told his story. And she's like, yeah, he did tell a story. And so she protected him.
I did for years. I allowed him to make me look like a liar, which I'm not. To make me look like I have my stories mixed up, which, as you heard very clearly when I got my ICBM baby, it was a very clear story. Because for a whole year, they've been getting along and they've been co-parenting. And the moment the cameras come on, he then tries to make me look like a liar. And he wanted to show up today to tell you guys to apologize to what he did to me because he knew damn well that's weird.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it more than Gizelle doesn't believe it. No, I don't believe that. And Jacqueline's like, you don't believe he's bipolar? I mean, he's so bipolar, I'm naming my next child Mania. I mean, it's all that we've heard. And Mia's like,
I didn't want him to come on another apology tour, so I told him just to stay home.
And Giselle's like, you sat here and said you regret the whole paternity thing and bringing it up. You don't regret it because of your children. And she's like, She goes, no, you regret it because of Twitter. And if everybody was on board with it, the world was on board with it, you'd be fine with it. And she goes,
well, there are a lot of people on board with it. I get so many DMs from people who say, after I went through ICP-BMI, and had a baby and moved in with the guy. Everyone's just so supportive. I'm a helpful person. Co-parenters everywhere thanking me. 1,000%.
You don't understand how many people who've had difficulty conceiving and had to turn to IMDb to have a healthy pregnancy, how they've reached out to me to say, I went through the same thing. So, you know what? People do like me.
So basically Ashley's like, well, it seems like you had a motive to look at this whole thing as a production instead of being genuine. Oh, okay, Ashley. I mean, Michael.
Like,
The end.
So
I was
she's
about to say
like,
GNA.
Yeah.
GNA.
Yeah.
So Giselle's like, well, what it has to do with the journey of your child, that's just deplorable. We all know the only reason why you show children on the show is to show that they are going off to college for 2 seasons in a row.
I remember when we were in Miami and we were talking about the relationship of the group, and you said that we were like Destiny's Child, but everyone's Michelle and you're Beyonce. And they're like, what? And Andy goes, wait a minute, who's Kelly?
You said that. She said that. And I was like, damn, at least I could be Kelly. By the way, no shame in being Michelle. Justice for Michelle. No shame. Michelle, do you want to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta?
And Giselle goes, oh, totally. I love Michelle. Personally, we're friends. When he's like, okay, then you guys can be Michelle. She can be Beyonce. I'm Kelly, though. I'm Kelly. And Mia goes,
I had been drinking.
like, she doesn't even deny it. She's so beat down by this point. She's like,
I was drinking.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like the most honest thing that she said all night.
yeah.
All right, well, Trapper from Keeper wants to know, Jacqueline, has Mia always had an odd relationship with the truth? I mean, well, Mia, for the most part with me, she's very honest. I mean, has she exaggerated about things? Yes. I don't think Mia always notices it, but I don't think she's a blatant liar, just a habitual one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, she shared that one. She's told that to me. Yeah, that's something that's common with us.
Yeah. Well, Poopy from Diaper says, Mia, if the conversations surrounding your child were bringing stress to your life, what made you think it was okay to bring up Giselle's daughters in even worse context? And then we see that your girls are sneaking boys in the house, and social media, you post like everything's perfect. So she's like, I didn't think it was okay, and that's actually why I apologized to her. So.
And then you got to my face, Then you, like you shoot when she was a man. You jumped up from your whatever you were sitting on. You got in my face and you tried to act like you were going to do something to me, And we see unseen footage. I was like, wait, when she was a man, what? Oh. And then it was unseen footage from the night where Ashley was in drag, where Gizelle was like, keep my children out of your mouth, Mia. And then Mia got up and like stood up and got in her face and, no, you keep my children out of your mouth now. I haven't talked about your children. Try me.
So then Giselle's like, you got in my face. And Wendy's like, when was this? Did they show it? They're like,
no, it was at the end of the night. You weren't paying attention.
And Giselle's like, they did not show it, but it happened. My bodyguard was there. And Mia's like, well,
you were saying I was a terrible mother.
and then Giselle goes, well, that's how you've acted this season. A terrible mother. And I stand by that. No woman, no mother would put their children on a platform to discuss his paternity. No mother would do that. No mother. And Mia's like, she gets up and runs off again. I was like, damn.
I thought it was great because like normally on these shows, it's like, you can never say that someone's a terrible mother. Like that's in fact, when someone's being heinous and awful, the one thing they say is, I will say they're a great mother, but she's a fucking bitch, blah, 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 but she's a great mother. So for someone to say, actually, she's a terrible mother, I was like, kind of refreshing for someone to be honest. Because, half these women think that everyone else is a terrible mother on all these shows.
And Gizelle can always be the grossest, And in some seasons, it's really infuriating when she's like on the wrong side. But when she's on the right side of things, it's refreshing. Yeah, it is. It's like,
she's like, you're a terrible mother, and I stand by that.
Yeah. And then when she walks off, Ashley goes,
the truth hurts, I guess. And Mia's like, not my kids. You don't come for my kids.
They're not coming for your kids. I hate when people do that. When you criticize their parenting, like, do not come for my children. They're not coming for your children. They're coming for you. They're saying your kids are great and you're a terrible mother. Okay.
Yes. And Wendy's like, well, I don't do people doing shit and not being able to be accountable for their shit. Well, thank you, Wendy. After all the shit she did, now you can get up and walk away. Bitch, please. So Kieran's like,
that's really unfortunate. This is an environment where husbands and children should be off limits. It's just like so sad.
Especially Greg's. Greg should really be off limits.
And Andy's like, well, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm exhausted. Let's go. So they get up for a break, and none of them can get out of their chairs, which is really funny. They have to help each other up. And then we see Mia going back to her dressing room door. She's like, all right, please do my brush. Please do my blush so it looks like my head has been dipped in blush, but only to my cheekbones. Please,
yeah.
In a straight line. And she's crying. And then we hear Eddie's voice because he and Greg are catching up in the other dressing room.
And they had this moment, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like this did not feel like an authentic moment because Eddie goes,
no.
Maybe we should help TJ see what's going on. I was like, what is this weird community theater moment that they're having right now?
But did you catch the day they kept cutting to the other people in the dressing room? I guess they were stylists or glam team or whatever. And they cut to a girl sitting in a chair behind them. And was she wearing a silver hard hat? I don't know what the hell was going on, but I was dying laughing because sometimes we joke that doing glam on these shows is like a Home Depot worker has to come with a jackhammer and be like, wax, wax, wax. And there was actually a girl in a hard hat, which I was cracking up at. So yeah, this was very unnatural, but they're like, hello, Greg. How wonderful to see you. I am Happy Eddie. Products available near you. We should call TJ. TJ is our good friend. And Greg's like, yes, we should call TJ.
So they call him. They're like, "Hey, TJ, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, well, I had to get evacuated because of the fire." A working actor in LA. And Eddie's like, "Are you safe?" TJ's like, "Yes, I'm very safe. My home that's nowhere near the Pacific Palisades is safe." So TJ is like, "All right, yeah. He's like, yeah, so that's why I've been like sort of trying to move stuff around, man. Yeah, man, yeah. And Greg's like, okay, well, I'm glad you're okay. He's like, yeah. And so Eddie's like, yeah, we're at the reunion. And TJ's like, yeah, I ain't going to that fake ass show with those fake ass people. I miss you, old man.
And so Eddie's like, wait, what? We got to lick her up next time you're in DC. And then the screen fades to black. And then TJ is kind of blacked out. Like, we don't see what's happening. They do a black and white thing where we don't really see what's happening. And then Eddie goes, oh, TJ, we had no idea, man. And he's like, yeah, you should talk to that girl. And Eddie goes, that was a lot. So then we cut back to the set, and they're all, still on break and stuff. And Wendy leaves her phone on the couch, but hears a buzz. So she gets it and she goes, shut the fuck up. I'm like, what? What, Wendy? What, Wendy? What is it, Wendy? And she's just laughing because Eddie has just sent her whatever TJ said.
Yeah, I love
Don.
TJ accusing the show of being fake with fake ass people. I mean, the show may be fake, but like he is the fakest person of them all on the show, and he's gonna eat. And that's why he's mad, because his fakery has been so blatantly exposed on a show that's already fake. Like if the one true thing that comes through is his fakery, then yeah, that sucks for him.
So
But
what do you
anyway,
think
he
it's
sucks.
going to be?
I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be like a lie. Maybe he's gonna say that they did have sex and that she was like terrible in bed.
No, because they make it look like it's a huge thing against Stacy because she's confronted with it and she's like, that is a lie. So it looks like he's saying that he was hired, or maybe the rumors are true that he was hired to be her boyfriend and she's just a big fat liar or something. Those are the rumors online, but I have no idea what it could really be.
Wow. Well, we'll find out next week. I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be good.
So we'll find out next week, everybody. But in the meantime, thanks so much for being here. If you want these recaps on videos, you find them at Patreon. If you don't want to pay for Patreon, that's fine. You get them a week later over at YouTube. So join us over there. Go get tickets for the Mounting Hysteria tour and Patreon links and bonus episode links, which are traders right now on Patreon. You can get links for everything over at watchwhatcrappens.com. So do it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.